Okay, this is the Council and Finance Committee meeting. We'll call to on January 17th at 4 o'clock, calling the meeting to order at 4 o'clock. With that, we do have remote, so I need a roll call voice vote to
Geraldine Bezekas here.
Mark Hussey.
Andrea Wood.
Don Hayes. With that, we have 4 Finance Committee members. We have a quorum. So we are set to go. This meeting is being recorded and played live on channel 9. We have 4 additions or deletions. At this time, the deletion I have is item 1 in the work session, the reserve fund transfer. I did not get my questions out to the police chief regarding their request.
If I just may interrupt, I did ask the chief and get some background information on that.
Okay.
So I might be able to provide the information that
Okay.
the FinCom needs,
Yeah.
perhaps.
Yeah, so we'll leave it, and so no need to add anything. Does anybody else have anything to add to the agenda? Oh. And I just saw Sam Grant come in at 4:02 p.m. Thank you, Sam. We're just
Oh, okay.
thank you for thanks for identifying that you're there. It's kind of
Hello.
Hello, thanks, Sam. We're just going through the preliminaries and going into the work session now. And the first item on that section of the agenda is the reserve fund transfer request for the police department. They had requested.
I never got that up and running. Just a minute.
The 4,021 and 34 for the fire alarm system. And I did not get the questions out to them, but Eric has an update for us.
Sure. So if I recall, a couple of questions. One was kind of a form question as to which account this was going to go to. So this was specifically for the repair and maintenance of buildings.
Yeah.
Which I have the account number if that's needed for
Okay.
the form.
No, we do have it. They had another repair and maintenance account for that.
Yeah, so they have an equipment one, but it is for the repair and maintenance of building. The chief, and when I requested some further background from him about why he wouldn't be able to absorb that into his budget, he just wanted to point out that there currently, as we sit right now, the repair and maintenance of buildings for the police department, which started at $17,000, is down to $3,000. So they've used 82% of their allocated funds for repair and maintenance of the building.
Yeah.
And we're not even 7 months through the,
Right.
and the repair and maintenance of the equipment, which goes towards the cruisers and, all the other equipment that the folks use. And I think, the chief had said that is more of a cyclical account. And so sometimes it looks like it has more than it should, but right now that is actually at 65% used. So out of the 65,000, and now there's only 19,000 left. So
Okay. But they had used them in that November.
yeah, so in the time frame, yeah,
Yeah.
those funds have been used, and he said this is an unanticipated, building expense that they can't absorb. All the other funds, quite frankly, are already spoken for. All the other funds plus probably are already spoken for.
Okay, so so this was unforeseen, but it's not. Do we have, and do we know what other plans they have for building maintenance that would come from here between now and June?
Well, so kind of the general building maintenance,
Okay,
it-
custodial.
you know, the,
Is that what it includes custodial, and is that what
It includes not just custodial, but the kind of the regular things like the painting, the repair of the sign. I think that's we're gonna have to do because we got hit by a vehicle while we're waiting for an insurance payment. That payment, that building is not the kind of building that you can
What are they
go.
gonna do with that insurance money?
Well, the insurance money goes into the general fund.
Ask, you know? I
The
mean,
insurance goes to the general fund.
Okay.
So, absent a vote to reallocate it for something else,
I'm just, you know, I don't know. It's
we'll
just-
get it, but they won't get it.
Right.
Oh, I see, okay.
So it goes into the general fund. It will show up as free cash
Yeah.
at the end of the year, but it's not, it's not gonna come in and
Mhm.
go towards the payment of the
Of the
damage.
sign repair.
And, quite frankly, it's the day to day, as anybody who owns a house knows, there's always something else that comes up that needs to get repaired. And as you said, $3,000 for 5 months is
Mhm.
Not a lot of money. What'd they
Yeah.
spend the rest on?
that I didn't get the answer.
Mm.
Well, the other thing to remember too is that in May, he again will have the opportunity to raise money through municipal transfers.
Yeah.
That is, you are correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Right, or again, the request for the transfer, that gives us the opportunity to leave the money in the reserve fund for now, and visit it in May if, we don't have municipal transfers, something available in municipal transfers, and we still have reserve fund money.
The one other thing I did want to mention to the FinCom,
Mhm.
and I think I mentioned it last time, but is that if the transfer at special town meeting next week goes through, the reserve fund would be made whole, and so wouldn't have anything to have, wouldn't have any deficits.
Mhm.
I know.
So this would be the first thing that would come out of it in theory.
Right, okay, so.
Get that
yeah,
substitute motion,
Yeah.
which I anticipate.
Okay, so, so that piece, just so that we're clear on it, we had, transferred money from the reserve fund to pay for the upgrade to the elevator here at Town Hall. And so there's a replacement article scheduled to go on the floor at special town meeting next week to refund that money back into the reserve fund so that we have the full reserve fund available to us.
I still do not understand why with the article that exists,
Mhm.
we can do that.
It,
Because the article itself is to raise money for a bill that no longer, or a need that no longer exists.
right, yeah, so,
So,
the
but-
idea, yeah,
How can you raise money to reimburse an account then? It's a different purpose. They're two different things. I don't see how the motion can be made to raise the money to reimburse the FinCom. That would have had to be done by a separate article. I just don't understand.
I'm going to defer to town council on that one.
Good.
okay, so that, yeah, the idea is to not to vote that or reallocate the money, is to totally replace the article with one that talks about, or if it introduces the amount that we transferred from the reserve fund to cover that invoice, is just refunded back to make the reserve fund back to the full $40,000 at that point. So again, town council needs to ensure we cover that. That we have it, that we can do it, and if we can't do it, then we just need to continue on.
When will we have the motions for this meeting?
Do you have, is town council will we see town council here in the building, before the town meeting date, or I'm not sure what isn't there one day a month that town council comes into the office?
Oh, yeah, but I think his is on the 31st this month.
Mhm.
His office
Okay.
hours on the
It's
31st.
on 31st, so he'll be here for the special town meeting.
He'll be here for that,
And then-
absolutely be here for
and then
that. So, the vast majority of the motions are already, they were drafted
Mhm. They've been drafted since.
for the last,
December 1st.
yeah,
the
Or, okay, with them being drafted, could I hear the language of the motion for that article, please?
as I said, the vast majority have been drafted, but not that one.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, so that's the conversation between now and next
Yeah, that's,
Tuesday,
you know,
yeah.
I
to be presented. And if we can get it early, then Andrea can,
yeah, I told Adam that what I was looking for, we just haven't connected yet about the exact language.
okay. Okay, any other discussion on the request from the police department?
Yeah, I just have a
Oh,
general
sorry.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
just to help me with the understanding of the process, why would it be supplement from reserve fund instead of a transfer from some additional funds like that they have excess usually at the end of the year?
Okay, those are the transfer, Andrea, can you get me the end of the year transfer technical name, please? Is it the account transfers at the end of the year?
The municipal transfers?
Municipal transfers. The technical name is a municipal transfer. Those are only available to us in the last 6 weeks, or
Oh,
the first
thank you.
the first 2 weeks of the next. So it's kind of like, so we can't transfer out of one account to another. The only ability we have is to come from reserve fund until that time.
Thank you.
And that's why it's here. And with this being the second one, we will have depleted the reserve account by 25% already, and we still have the bulk of where we've seen a bulk of the money and transfer requests come in the past. So we're trying to preserve that as much as we can.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Andrea.
You're welcome.
Okay. With that, do we have any motion to take on the request from the police department for now? Do we want to make a motion to revisit after the special town meeting and see how that goes? With
With the elevator?
with the elevator thing, refunding the money, so we would be back at the 40,000 with this being the only request of money from the reserve fund at that point.
Do you want a motion just to
To
revisit it?
table it until,
I think that would be what we should do, kind of, but just want to make sure that there's agreement with it.
I'll make a motion to revisit the elevator situation. Kind of.
Or with the and the impact on the fire, the police department request. Okay, we have a motion to look to review the police department request from the reserve fund after we see how town meeting goes next week.
I'll second that.
And we have a second. Any additional questions? I see none. Roll call vote, please.
Carolyn Mazikas, yes?
Mark Hussey, yes.
Andrea Wood, yes?
Sam Grant, yes.
Hayes, yes, it's unanimous. We'll visit in 2 weeks after town meeting.
You know,
Thank you.
it's funny, years ago, $4,000.
I remember some fight,
But $4,000 equals a lot, you know, it's.
Yeah.
It'd be hard.
It is, with that, okay. Okay, well, set on there next, on the meeting agenda, looking at, the ClickUp budget software training. I provided the date of our meetings. Do we have anything?
Yeah, so we're gonna try to do it on the first meeting after the town of Jefferson special.
Okay, which would be January 31st. Okay. Okay, so FinCom, we want to clear your calendars and be here for the January 31st meeting?
Is that the Saturday meeting?
No, that is not
Oh.
the Saturday meeting. That's
Tuesday.
that's the Tuesday.
Oh, okay, all right.
Tuesday, 4 o'clock, the next Tuesday, 4 o'clock scheduled.
Yeah, okay.
Not just one.
That's it.
Are we gonna do a Saturday?
We will, we haven't discussed with selectmen yet,
Okay.
and I don't know if Eric's,
No, I
Where-
looked at it when I was sending out the budget to folks.
okay, usually we do a Saturday, and we bring a lot of department heads in. That's-
TA generally buys lunch.
You're on a calendar here for the 31st.
Really?
Yep, okay, terrific, thank you. Now, I have on the meeting, let me see if I can share. I'm sorry, Hartley, are you listening? This is Don. I'd like to have share capability for file. Thank you.
That's something I'm looking for.
So, the supplemental special town meeting next week is scheduled for 5 minutes earlier than the special town meeting. The Article 1, which is requiring the 2/3 vote, is the request for, the town to approve the 300,000 borrowing for the North Middlesex Regional School District. Is that still on?
That is still on. So the school district is now saying, which is a little bit different from the information that I feel like they were giving us at the beginning, that this $300,000 debt is only for Ashby, not going to be borne by towns.
Oh,
So not only the capital, but also this district debt.
Yep.
So I'm in the process of trying to get something in writing from them
mhm.
about it, as opposed to just a phone call.
Yep.
Hopefully have Adam get a chance to review the regional agreement as well, so that he is of the same conclusion.
Mhm.
But it's a very different question if the $300,000 doesn't have anything to do with towns and residents having to pay for it.
Right.
They still need to get vote.
Okay.
Every town has to approve it,
Oh, but there's no cost.
but remember, if you don't vote on it, it's automatically a yes after 60 days. So,
So yeah. You know what's funny? Did I not see on the school committee site, on the school, NMR's, the school site, a study that had been done just a few years ago?
no, I don't know.
Yeah, because somebody posted it on Facebook and I looked at it and it had numbers, it had, deficiencies, and I don't know how up to date they were, but it didn't seem to be that long ago.
The reality is that anything pre-COVID at this point in time is probably,
Yeah, it did mention that,
No.
you definitely have to be brought up ADA compliant, things like that.
yeah.
But I thought it was inclusive.
Is that because Ashby is actually building?
It is because it's Ashby's building, but it's also because the only students that go there are Ashby students.
Right.
And so the regional agreement talks about capital expenses being borne based on the percentage of students that are in a building. And so it can change over the time of the debt based on who's in the building. But what wasn't clear is that the district was considering this to be a portion of a capital expense. as opposed to a district expense that was borne by everybody. And so as long as I get something in writing from them.
Yeah.
That Adam says that he's okay with, saying this is gonna be a capital expense and only borne by Ashby, as long as Ashby students are the only people in that building.
Right.
Which obviously that's, it's gonna be, then I don't even know if we keep it on.
Mhm.
I have a question.
Take no action.
Yeah,
Yeah,
take no action.
yes, Sam.
My wife, after I talked about this last week, said Ashby School Board voted to shut something down back out there.
They did, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I think.
Now I don't know what that something is.
It's I think it's a wing of the building that they're contemplating. Again, I don't have all the details, but I think they're contemplating demolishing a wing of the building and then trying to restore the remainder of the structure.
In that study, it mentioned that I think it was built in 78, I'm not sure.
Yeah, ironically, it's probably the more recent wing.
The
one
most
that's-
recent wing, they suggested that they demolish it.
It's in the seventies.
I beat you, I know it happened, but
I was gonna say, that
Built
sounds like.
before- It was built after 70, it's not worth much.
Yeah, that's the
Well, the
downside.
school is, yeah, but they want to,
They build it in the
original
seventies
school
or
was-
eighties, it falls apart. But
Right,
build
right.
in the fifties or
the
forties.
original school, I don't know what year that.
All high school. I still went to all high school. It's kind of like, and it's still standing and they're still putting students in it.
But they showed some pictures of the mechanical rooms and electrical rooms and, you know, the deficiencies were pretty.
Pretty
It's a
scary,
lot.
actually.
It was a
Yeah,
lot.
There's a lot
Yeah.
going on. It's a whole. But it does appear as though if you know, they're saying it's true, we would know Townsend resident would be on the hook for this debt.
Until they
Which
suck it in with students and go, now you owe.
Yeah. We're gonna move thousands of students into the building.
Right. We can't fit them in towns and then you all.
Yeah, well, the way our numbers are going, that's not a problem.
Yes, I guess, I know.
So we would likely recommend no action on this if we get an opinion from the school and from town council that we don't have to pay it.
Okay,
Wow.
yeah, I'm just thinking about and again, this is 300,000 and then it would be the Townsend's rating percentage if we did have to pitch in. So,
If they are wrong, and this is a district debt.
Yeah.
Which is what we thought, then it would have to, there would be, borne by the
Mhm.
towns in
Yeah.
whatever their percentage is.
Yeah.
And I think Townsend's like 40% of the district. And Ashby's like
okay, so,
15% of the district.
I went back to the three towns, annual town meetings.
Yeah.
And I put in their percentages. and-
So yeah, so there you go.
And gave our percentages for what would be, so that,
And that's
Better,
the,
thank you.
that's the
Okay.
principle. You're talking about breaking that down over, I don't know, 10
Well, it's,
years, 20
um,
years.
if you do our, 2.5 override, but is there a debt exclusion? I mean, if we're talking 76,000 into our tax base, I'm thinking it's, if we break it over 2 years, it'll be 3.5 cents a year. And then it would come off instead of being something that we raise the tax base.
Well, yeah, but I think I think that would depend on the debt terms that the district is giving. So I think they're talking about it being a 10-year.
They're talking 10 years, okay.
So if it's a
then
10-year note,
Yeah.
then we're responsible for $7,600 a
divided by-
year plus interest.
Plus interest,
So not a huge
not a huge number when we.
huge
compare
number
that
when you
to-
look at it over 10.
Until you add it to the 6% increase that they're looking for.
I was on the school board, we built Pepper, the school in Pepper, and Pepper bore all the costs.
Oh, for a renovation they did or
Yeah.
instead?
They built a brand new one, yeah.
And that's why I was sort of adamant, like I said, because I remember, because they were like, oh no, all the startup costs and all of this and the architect, that's by all three towns. And they were like, no, not for the middle school. And they bore all the costs.
And so that, I mean, that seems to be consistent with what they're saying here, which is
Mhm.
the feasibility study is part of the cost. And so Ashby has to take it all. I just want it in writing.
Right. Yeah.
Agree.
We did pay, all three towns pay for a plaque because the school committee's name was on it. But that was like $1,000.
Good man that just said, I'll pay.
Yeah.
Another little fact, the building committee names are all.
Oh, of course, well, hey, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somewhere you're on the building. That's great. So even if they're wrong and this is district debt
Yeah.
that we're responsible for, based on, I mean, talking about their $14 million that we pay every year.
Yeah.
Seven, like $8,000 is not a large amount.
Right, yeah. But they'd be taking it and doing a proper 2.5 override for it and running that separate to there. With that information, do we, we're not gonna, I don't believe we don't have another meeting planned beforehand to take
Right.
take a vote. Do we, and this section of the meeting is to take and identify whether we recommend or not recommend any action at this point or recommend the article to pass. And I guess
Even if this doesn't happen, we still should vote on it, you saying?
that's what I'm wondering. Do we vote that says it's based on the numbers and the allocations that we look at, and it's going to be $76,000? Do we take a vote based on that? And
And knowing that this could actually be nothing we need to vote
right,
on.
if it,
Yeah.
and maybe that's the recommendation. We recommend, I guess.
All right.
Would we recommend it if it comes through that Townsend is
have to.
responsible? Right, and if it's, so the idea is we anticipate that it's no action required at this point, but if it does come through and Adam says that we are going to be responsible for a piece or a piece of it that we would recommend.
I think that's exactly how you would phrase it.
Yeah.
The FinCom believes that no action should be taken on this, but in the event that the
Okay, yeah,
determination
yeah,
that
yeah.
the towns would bear a share of this, our recommendation is act.
Right, that's the wording that I put into and usually it's recommended or not recommended, but it depends. It's kind of like this thing. We recommend with an asterisk if it goes that way. So,
I'll make a motion. And how would I start that? If,
I would make a motion that says, move that the FinCom, recommend no action on this article,
okay,
except in the event that there's a determination that Townsend will bear a portion of this debt,
right,
we recommend.
okay. As you just said, to see if the town would vote to approve $300,000 borrowing authorized by the North Middlesex Regional School District for the purpose of paying the cost of developing a feasibility study with respect to the Ashby Elementary School,
Our portion.
our portion.
okay. And so we have a motion
Our second,
and Jerry had seconded. Any further discussion?
Oh,
None being heard.
Look pretty bad.
None being heard, roll call vote.
Geraldine, yes?
Mark, yes?
Andrea, yes.
Sam Grant, yes.
Don Hayes, yes. So unanimous that we vote to take no action unless, unless town council
Verifies.
certifies that it is a Townsend responsibility, then we would recommend. Okay. Thank you. And the supplemental Article 2, generally this is, we would consider not not to have a financial impact. The town is recommending to try to sell a piece of property. So on Article 2,
That's that old gas station.
that's, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
the old gas station. So, do we have,
The 2020 issue.
Mhm.
do we have a motion to take no action and make no recommendation on Article 2?
The motion to take no action and move the forward recommendation on Article 2.
So we
I'll
have
second that.
a motion by Jerry and seconded by Mark. Any further discussion? None being heard or kids nodding, roll call vote, please.
Carolyn, yes.
Mark Hussey, yes.
Andrea, yes.
Sam, yes.
And Don Hayes, yes, again unanimous, so with no action. Okay. Now, and I apologize, I thought I had sent the certification of the free cash out when it had come in on June 12th, and I just resent it again just before this meeting started. We have had we have free cash certified.
Thank goodness.
Yes, so we have, the balance that was certified was the $489,030. And we have the 6 articles to look at. So if I go back, so we had Articles 5 through 11 that we had not taken any action on, any recommendation. And you see the balance does not change top to bottom on here. This was just monitoring it to see where we were if we made the appropriation. If we approve, and the town approves all articles, the balance would be the $323,530 of free cash at the end. And again, this is just a running balance for FinCom, basically based on the FinCom recommendations. That's all. So that being where we are. Right there. If I can find my files where I put them. And the warrant for this. Well, the warrant for the special.
There you go. Fine.
Yes. Okay. So, Article 5, to see if the town will vote to appropriate from free cash or other available funds the treasury the sum of $8,000 for repairing the town hall elevator as required. So this article is take no action or replace with the replacement article. That point where the article would be specifically for the amount that we transferred from the reserve fund, and the town take that amount at 7,200 and change, if I remember, 86, and that would replenish and make whole. So Article 5 is the idea would be to take no action and identify a replacement article that replenishes the reserve fund. do we,
Excuse me. I don't think replacement article isn't right.
Okay.
In speaking in the sense that you cannot add an article, a different article, a new article after the warrant has been posted. So it's going to depend on how council says the motion to this article reads that we can be reimbursed.
okay. Understood. Okay, so I guess the motion for us to vote on would be, yeah, it's wait for town council. It's similar to what we did on Article 1 in the supplemental. We're talking about taking no action on Article 5 as stated, but if the motion that is read replenishes the reserve fund, then Finance Committee would recommend this article. Otherwise, it's take no action.
That sounds good.
Yeah, I make a motion to take no action unless when the article is read, it states that the money will be replenished back into the fund.
When the motion is read.
And the motion.
When the motion is read, I'm sorry.
Okay, so the motion has been made. Do we have a second?
Second.
It's seconded by Jerry. Any additional discussion on Article 5?
Yeah,
Thanks. None being heard, we'll take the roll call vote.
Carolyn, yes.
Mark Hussey, yes.
Andrea, yes.
Sam Grant, yes.
And Don Hayes, yes, unanimous. We will I'll write it up in the recommendation sheet and add it to the existing recommendation sheet for Article 5 to read as we have recommended. Okay, all right, and Article 6, to see if the town will vote to appropriate from free cash or other available funds the sum of $29,000 for the purpose of paying unbudgeted increases to the town's general insurance costs.
Did we ever figure out why this wasn't picked up in the normal budget?
We didn't get the final,
It was an estimate.
all we were working on was an estimate for
Is that
the
what
budget
happened?
process. We didn't get the final until after the budget, until after I started, which was after the budget.
Right, and so there are several insurance policies. One is called general. Is it specifically for the general insurance line, or is there additional lines with this?
So it's specifically, well, yeah, it's specifically for the general insurance line, but that general insurance line covers multiple different insurances.
Okay,
So,
so it's the one line, one account on the budget that talks about general insurance.
right.
Okay, and not any of the other insurances that are listed separately.
Yeah, no, not the other insurances, I don't think are the ones that were impacted by the increase.
Mhm.
Is this a health insurance? Or what?
No, this is,
No.
the health insurance is its
This is
own.
like our
line.
liability insurance.
This is, yeah, is it liability insurance and for all the buildings?
Liability for all the buildings, for the vehicles, for, it encompasses,
So it's all been.
Mhm. Yep. No, that's why it's kind of like, as we look at an article, we're looking to see, are we talking about this going to one line? So when we're going to write up the recommendations, it's going to state that it's 29,000 for the one budget line. And I think I had put that in that email I had sent with the question, so. Okay, so on Article 6, do we have a motion to recommend? that, and at this point with the amount of free cash, we're making the recommendation, it comes from free cash in the motion. Okay. Do we have a motion on Article 6 for us to recommend or not recommend?
Make a motion to recommend to pay the 29,000 for the increase of the liability charges.
Okay, we have a motion to recommend. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Mark Cressy. Any other discussion? None being heard, we'll take the roll call vote to recommend Article 6.
Geraldine, yes?
Mark Hussey, yes.
Andrea Wood, yes.
Sam Grant, yes.
And Don Hayes, yes. And so I'm just gonna jump back. And if we do the recommend, we can see that as we select recommend on a budget with the balance, just keeping tallies on where the balance is all that, like I say, that's all it is. I like to play with spreadsheets, and I apologize.
It's not a bad thing.
So, Article 7, to see if the town will vote to appropriate from free cash or other available funds in the treasury, the sum of 75,000 for the purpose of paying unbudgeted increases in energy costs.
Make a motion to leave somebody paying the increase for 75,000.
Okay. And again, so we have a motion to recommend that the 75,000 come from free cash,
I'll second that.
and second by Mark Hussey.
Yeah, no choice.
All right.
Well, yeah, we think it's going up. This is an estimate of what the bill's gonna be. We'll know the actuals after we get through the winter heating season.
Yeah, it's, I mean,
Nice mild winter so far.
I thought this has been a mild one.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful that we're not gonna need it and
Yeah.
that this is gonna be something that
It'll
we don't
be
need.
into free cash.
We also,
Yeah.
we also, the Board of Selectmen worked with the energy consultant to get the town buildings on a municipal energy contract.
Mhm.
That's less than what Unitil costs. So I think we're paying 15 cents per kilowatt hour instead of 22 cents. So that's good. It's less than we paid last winter. But as you know, I mean,
Mhm.
energy costs, we had to make a huge
That's it.
transfer from the municipal lease transfer that year after because of that.
When is that meeting coming up? I think it was.
Tonight.
We're having, there's a presentation tonight,
Yeah.
but there's gonna be all sorts of, there's still lots of public outreach that has to happen. They're gonna have another public meeting just on that, not a presentation. That's what it's like.
Is that at 6 o'clock during the selectmen's meeting?
Yeah.
Yes.
It is.
And they're up first.
Yeah.
Do we give them 6:30 though?
I thought we had them at six.
Oh, it's possible. My brain doesn't.
Okay.
work well.
So, we have the article that, or the motion to recommend. I don't think we've done the
I second
the
it.
roll call vote, and
Oh, no.
a second by Mark. The roll,
Mark Hussey, yes.
Andrea Wood, yes.
Sam Grant, yes.
Don Hayes, yes, and just for clarity, as we voted it, this is we do have multiple energy lines across multiple budgets, but this is specifically for the town hall or the
The facilities.
Facilities.
Energy line, yeah.
energy line, so it's not, this is.
Which is the
again,
largest one in.
It's
in
the
town.
largest, yeah. It's kind of like, and fire has one, police has one.
Yeah.
uh,
It may be that if we, because all those other lines did run into the deficit as well last year,
mhm,
but they were able to be covered
Right. So
internally by those departments. It may be that if we have a lighter year, we might be asking for MRTs at the end of the year to take extra money to transfer out of the department.
Don't let that-
Yeah.
It did not go unnoticed.
Okay, next, Article 8, to see if the town will vote to appropriate from free cash and other available funds in the treasury, the sum of 25,000 for the purpose of paying expenses for accounting services. or take any action. Other action in relation there too.
Talked about this last week, didn't we? The reason just came in as it is. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about this a couple of times. This is in addition to, the.
This extra hours.
This was extra hours and extra work to post the books and prepare the reports for the audit.
And to cover the difference between the accountant's salary line and
Yeah.
the Lansing contract, so we don't have to bring that
Right.
from another source.
All right, I'll make a motion to see if the town will vote to appropriate from free cash or other available funds in the treasury the sum of $25,000 for purposes of paying expenses for account services.
Okay, so we have a motion that we recommend the payment of the 25,000. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Andrea. So we have the motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Questions? None being heard. Roll call vote, please.
Mark Hussey, yes.
Andrea would know because the contract with them, with the company that was posted, which is, I can't find now on our website, but was posted there, said that it would not exceed $35,000. And if they put people in that had a higher rate and overstepped the money that was agreed to, they've got to eat that. That's not ours to make up.
Carolyn Bezikas, no.
Sam Grant, no.
Okay, and Don Hayes, I'd say yes. It's does not carry, so this is a not recommended. Do we have any what ramifications will be if we don't pay?
So.
If
So what would likely happen is because we carried over $35,000 from FY 22
Yeah.
to pay for the closure of the books.
Mhm.
Because that went over, we had to pay extra out of FY 23 funds to close the books for FY 22. So we will run out of money for accountant services before the end of the year, which means we'll be without an account
right, and won't be able to vote.
and we won't be able to close.
Okay.
Well, I have a misunderstanding here then. I was to understand when this was first presented that this money was already spent. This wasn't for,
In the backyard with the dog.
did they go over the contracted agreement with
So the
us?
contract agreement included an estimated cost of $35,000.
It said not to exceed. In the contract, it said not to exceed. That's not estimated, to me, at least.
Well, it's an estimated up to that point, yes,
Um,
but not anywhere they want to go after that.
and the reality is they based it on some representations that were made to them about how much of the closure of the monthly cash reconciliation had been done, and that information was incorrect. The cash
But the-
reconciliation by the person who was serving as our accountant was not completed to the point where that Melanson had been led to believe.
But
And
didn't they
so-
come out and examine the accounts? They should have, upon their examination, being professionals, should have known then that it wasn't to the degree that they were led to believe it was.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I was not a part of the negotiation with Melanson, that.
Oh,
you know,
yeah, I'm not yelling at you.
So I don't know whether they came out or not. I know that they, they've performed the duties while they were here in a manner that appears to be professional and efficient. They obviously got free cash certified. We are, we're doing we're reconciling the cash on a monthly basis, which wasn't done in FY22. So I can't make any assumptions that they were not acting professional when they signed the contract. I just know that, they did indicate that there was
That they had gone over the total.
that they was not able to close the books with the $35,000.
Yeah.
And since we have no alternative,
Yep.
we had to have the books closed.
Mhm.
We had to,
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, this leaves me in a real quandary because if we go without the services, I mean, if this money is to cover them to the end of the year and not just for a mistake in their initial request, then we'll be back where we started off when we had to hire them in the first place. So now I'm really in a quandary.
What was the original contract for?
So there's
Uh,
there are two contracts at issue with this $25,000. The first was the $35,000 to close the books in FY22. The
Yeah,
second was the $90,000 for accountant services in FY23.
right.
So we had, we identified funds that we could, we were going to hold over from FY22 to cover $35,000 worth of work. Their cost for closure went over. We had to take it from FY23 money, which came out of the money that was, that had been set aside to fund the accountant services through FY23.
So what I keep hearing is they don't have a contract. They've got a piece of paper that they can post on the wall to throw darts at. I mean, if it's a
Yeah, I think-
contract or not a contract, did they say up to but not exceeding X number of dollars? These
The-
are the
the-
caveats in there we don't know about.
So I can certainly, provide a copy of the $35,000 contract. That they were careful in its drafting so that they made it clear that that was their estimate, but they couldn't guarantee that the work was going to get done for that amount because they were just estimating it.
Does it say yes?
Now, whether the contract itself says the contract is not to exceed $35,000, the scope of services said we estimate that $35,000 will get us to the end of the fiscal year, but we cannot guarantee that. And so we had to, that.
So it was paid out of the accounting salary.
So it's already been paid, we're looking to recover it.
Right, so this line is to recover 25,000 that's already been paid for work that.
Well, it was 15,000 that was paid for work at the end of FY22,
Yeah.
and 10,000 to cover the difference between the $80,000 accountant salary and the $90,000 contract for the
Yeah.
accountant service.
Is this for this year only?
They are under contract for this year only, yes.
So they're renegotiating next year. For
If we don't have a full,
Yeah.
correct, if we don't have a full-time accountant on staff, we would be putting out to bid again for accountant services. We did it last time and got a couple of bids. We would likely have to do that again.
Well, I hope we got somebody that knows how to read when they bring in that contract to sign.
Well, I was gonna say, this one is a little different. It's kind of like um, because the accountant services that are being provided is replacing, us from hiring a town accountant or having somebody that was hired in that position. So instead of paying a salary and health insurances and benefits, we're paying a consultant to come in. And if you take the 80,000 salary plus the
Plus the benefit.
23,000 on the benefits,
Yeah.
we actually come out a little bit ahead
We do,
on the total cost.
Did we put that down? Did we talk about that?
So,
About not including benefits?
well, but this
Oh, we
person is a hired contractor. It's
Yeah.
not-
Oh,
it's
So,
not an-
yeah, it's a vendor. They
Right,
get benefits from there, from
from there,
Right.
Yeah.
It's not one person, it's a couple of people and with
It's,
some help.
yeah,
Well, this all that going to a vote on town meeting floor. Is this something we have to vote on at town meeting if we can't decide? If we don't decide, or is it just
Well, it's-
automatically recommended?
We're just
by-
recommending.
It is recommending the town meeting can do whatever they
It's-
want.
yeah, it still goes. It's kind of like the warrant is signed. This is whether the finance committee is
Yeah,
recommending the payment.
depends on what how town meeting feels about,
Mhm.
FinCom recommendations.
Right.
So, the Board of Selectmen recommended,
The Board of Selectmen adopted the warrant that had this. They-
Right, so they,
Not their money.
what, you had concerns?
so, and to the point, if we don't put this 25,000 into that account, we're gonna run short of being able to pay the accountant for the accounting services. As we approach the into the last quarter of the year.
Or I will be coming in
Well,
for
we are-
municipal transfers.
Yeah.
Oh,
Becoming
yeah,
a
but
service.
you could come in for, yeah, oh, it worked for a municipal transfer. It wouldn't work for, a reserve fund transfer though, because
Oh, no,
it
not a reserve.
wouldn't be unforeseen.
municipal tra- Right, it would be a municipal transfer,
Yeah,
is what it would be. And likely from, I would be requesting it from the benefits line.
Mhm.
as much as I hate to say this, because I think a yes vote is wrong on this one.
Yeah.
I think the devastation to the town of being without an accountant, and we've seen how terrible it is without having our books balanced. I'll change my vote to yes, to support it. I think it's the lesser of two evils.
Yeah, you're correct there, but can't we just wait till the municipal transfer time comes and then give it over?
They're just, yeah, you're right there too.
And let the town vote the way they feel.
Providing
Yeah.
we had it and
Yeah,
You're right.
that was about to
right,
say,
right.
providing there is money for municipal
Transfer.
transfer.
There's always water in the mill. Unless you're in California.
Eric, do we have like an itemized to figure that what that work was, or they just said additional amounts, additional?
They break it down?
Was there any type of breakdown?
I would have to look back and see. I know there was
I
conversation
don't
back and
think
forth
there is.
started, and then the invoices have hours, and I think the invoices also include kind of the work that was done in those hours, but I'm not sure that it,
Is she here in the building?
But it
She,
did give like 10 hours or 15.
I only saw
They
Lee in
did
the
like
office
some
when I
type of
looked
hours.
this morning or
It
this
just
afternoon.
didn't flat money.
yeah, our contract indicates that the accountant's supposed to be in the building on Tuesday.
Once a week on Tuesday it was.
Correct. Yeah,
Scheduled.
once a week on Tuesday.
Okay, there's been a lot of discussion. We had the vote. It was 2 yes, 3 no, so it was a not recommended. So a lot of information that has transpired that goes into, supporting the not recommending it, along with what the alternatives are if we don't move this from free cash right now. So I guess it, in a way, it's a delayed piece of information. It's a delayed payment or putting the money in that line. It's kind of, we take it from free cash that we have today, move it over, or we keep the free cash $25,000 higher. And when we get to the end of the year, instead of having free cash available potentially from health insurance, because we're going to move that money, it's free cash from next year that wouldn't be there for us. So, on a municipal transfer.
But the whole idea of it is,
It's more about the contract and signing a contract.
Correct, than anything else.
and I haven't seen the contract, so I can price it.
Okay, so,
One way or another, it's gonna get paid.
Hmm.
and there'll be money there, whether it's from free cash now. And again, the town can make. We have made our vote, and our vote is not to recommend. And with that, in the recommendation sheet, we'll explain the options and where we are with it. And then the townspeople will make the decision whether they take it from free cash now or delay it into an MRT at the end of FY '23, which seem to be the two options right now. Well, okay, so as Article 8 and the 25,000. Article 9, to see if the town will vote to appropriate from free cash for available funds in the treasury the sum of $7,500 for the purpose of installing a new heating AC unit in the town clerk's vault, or take any other action in relation to that too. Do we have a motion on Article 9? Again, okay.
For the, installation of new heating is NAC, in the clerk's vault. There's a lot of interesting things in that.
I was gonna say, there are, the purpose of this heating and AC unit is to control the documents, the humidity and the temperature in the vault, so that the records that are maintained either for 1, 2, or many more years, that they have to be, in a controlled environment to preserve the original.
Right,
So,
understood.
do we have a motion that we recommend?
I did make it.
Oh, okay, sorry. Jerry
I will
made the
second
motion,
that.
and Mark is seconding the motion. Any other discussion, questions? None being heard. Roll call vote, please.
Carolyn, yes.
Mark Hussey, yes.
Andrea Wood, yes.
Sam Grant, yes.
And Don Hayes, yes. Make sure that 500, okay. And then we have Article 10, and I guess we had a question on this. Well, Eric had to step out for a minute, so we'll that. Okay, Eric is stepping back into the room.
I apologize.
No worries, it's kind of, Article 10, there was some investigation to determine what this 10,000 for the repair of library, the Council on Aging roof, is that?
Yeah, and I believe we still do need it for the section of the roof, unfortunately.
This is the, Is it the roof over the library, roof over, or just the middle roof, or what is it, where is it, what roof are we talking about?
That's an excellent question.
Yeah, okay. It's a roof.
You know, it was, I believe it was a roof that was not affected by the addition.
Addition, okay.
So I don't know whether it's on the meeting hall or the library.
I'm just curious. Well, I recommend that we, fix the roof for $10,000.
I agree.
Okay, so we have a motion to recommend Article 10.
Second,
And a second from Sam. Any additional questions or for Article 10 from the group? Then being heard, a roll call vote, please.
Gerald, yes?
Mark Hussey, yes.
Andrea Wood, yes.
Sam Grant, yes.
Hayes, yes. And then Article 11, to see if the town will vote to appropriate from free cash or other available funds in the treasury the sum of $11,000 for the purpose of paying a one-time expenses related to the first year annual fee to revamp the town website or take any other action in relation to that too.
Does that mean we have someone that actually is doing the website, or will I have to look at that? So what is that?
Yeah, so right now, the town is under contract with a company, Civic Plus, that does a lot of municipal websites. We have what I would consider to be their very basic package. It is kind of cumbersome, and if folks have moved around our website, sometimes it's not the easiest to move around in. Harrison Mayotte, who is our webmaster, has been doing some research. There's another company that we are contemplating moving to. Their annual fee is only slightly, it's like $200 a year more than the current annual fee we're paying, but we get a lot of expanded services and a free, we get a revamped website, fully up to 2023 standards website. Plus, in 4 years, they will automatically give us a free refresh of our website. It's up to what's current standards at that time. We think it's a really good idea. And the websites that this company has done, they do a lot of municipal websites, and they're way more user friendly than kind of the Civic Plus model. So come with some advanced features that I think the public would be some good functionality.
I'll make the recommendation that we spend the $11,000 to revamp the website.
Okay, we have a motion to recommend Article 11 for the $11,000. Do we have a second?
I'll second it, but I have one question.
I got two.
Well, okay, so we have a motion and a second. Now discussion on the motion. So the questions, Andrea, you were first.
This is the first time this has appeared on a warrant, correct?
Well, it's been on the warrant since December 1st when it was posted around town.
Oh, yes, but I mean, this is,
Subject.
but it's the first warrant. We're voting on a new idea.
We're voting on a new idea, new software. Yeah. So-
Okay, that's fine.
The reason why we needed to put it on a warrant is because we're going to have the two websites running simultaneously while our new one is being created. So we have to pay. So we have an annual fee that we're going to be paying Civic Plus for FY, for the remainder of this fiscal year, and then we're going to have an annual fee that we have to start paying this new company and the startup costs at the same time. We can't take the website down for the time that it's going to.
Certainly. The reason I asked my question was because I couldn't remember any history in regard to this. And
Yeah, no, I agree.
and so I thought I'd ask if it was a new article or not. It's fine. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I think part of that comes into the IT strategy that we have. We had a webmaster and things that probably did some of that work and never brought it up. That with the new IT strategy that we have, it's just really coming up to speed with everything and, you know, making it a little less clunky, you know, it's kind of like
That's
a
the
little.
goal.
So
And we're also rolling out things like online permitting, and
Mhm.
we feel like with a new website, the functionalities will be a lot more user friendly than they currently are on the current website.
Yeah.
And we could get some of the new things on the current website if we were willing to go up to Civic Plus. Civic Plus is a more advanced package. It just costs way more than, than we have in the budget to pay every year.
So we pay what, $9,000 now, you said?
Oh, no.
Oh,
We pay $2,200 a year
okay.
for web hosting services to
Okay.
Civic Plus.
Yeah.
So this new company will be $2,400 a year,
Okay.
but there's a startup
An initial cost.
and a different cost.
Yeah.
And we could have spread that out over 5 years, but I'd rather just, if we have free cash to cover it, I'd rather just pay it and then
Yes,
budget normally over 5 years.
yeah.
It's a one-time cost for the startup.
Okay. And Sam,
So basically what you're saying is you're going to a new host who's going to build you an entirely new website from scratch with a better package.
Correct.
And there'll be an overlap of whatever, 5 months between now
Yes.
and the end of the quarter or the end of the fiscal year. And we'll be up and running with the new one at the beginning of the new fiscal year.
That would be the plan, yes.
Yeah, it's a plan. What are we going to do about it?
it's in process.
We already have the agreement ready to sign. So we
Okay,
couldn't do it until we had the funding, so.
excellent. I voted.
Now I guess programmer and me, they had a tool to help Harrison with the programming of pages.
The migration and
pages.
stuff.
Well, not necessarily, well, there's data migration too,
There's some data migration, but yeah, we're gonna,
and document migration and setting up that
Right.
stuff.
but also they're gonna come in and meet with the Board of Selectmen and some of the staff members, and talk about what the website should look like. And then present some,
Yeah.
some-
Yeah,
Mock-ups.
the UI, yeah, they mock up a UI and see, what do you want in this order? What do you want when you hit this button? What do you?
Right.
Kind of. But it is going forward, is all development going to be done by them, or is Harrison got the training, or are we going to have a webmaster ongoing?
well, no, I mean, I think
It's a-
one of the good things about the service is based on our conversations with the other entities that have them as their web hosts, is that they have a really excellent customer service.
Mhm.
And so it would kind of enable, I think, Harrison to interact with them, but get a lot of help on the back end, which is not something we're really getting right now in our Civic Plus experience.
Okay, so we had the motion, we had the second, we've had some discussion. Any other additional question or discussion? None being heard, roll call vote on to recommend Article 12 or 11, sorry.
Gerald Bazikis, yes?
Mark Hussey, yes.
Andrea Wood, yes.
Lost.
Don Hayes, yes, and we lost Sam. Pulled the plug.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's unanimous 4-0. Okay,
Well, that was it. Huh.
that was it. Everything else that we already have, so I will take and add these recommendations for the articles and description into,
Approximately what percentage of free cash is that balance of October that, budget? Just rough,
the bottom here.
yeah, the 3,000.
In the,
350, 3,000.
I'm just referencing.
Yeah, oh, yeah, you're not just one.
I am.
Okay,
I
yeah,
am.
just-
Don with the spreadsheet does not rough it. Get you the exact number. You can't see it.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
Well, we still can't see it. Because we're on here. Displaying. No, you're not seeing.
1.4%.
1.4%.
Do you have a goal you were here, like between 2 and 3?
Free cash is one thing. I would like to see potentially some of this free cash moved into, not the reserve account, stabilization fund. It's kind of like, and have some more money in stabilization. We're about 4% in stabilization fund. I'd like to see that a little higher. Free cash is more like things in your checkbook. There's some extra
Yeah.
money at the end of the month. You can go off and spend it. The stabilization fund, it's got to be there in case there's something that's.
So you don't worry if your free cash is even at 0, you don't worry about having it.
You worry about a buffer in there, but it's not as much
For
as.
some reason, I just remember the finding pain, so, you know, you want to look at it around.
And there's 2%.
They said,
Yeah,
one-
yeah, it's kind of like, so there's the two funds and yeah, you don't want an awful lot of free cash because you can't have it until it's certified.
Right.
good,
Certain, so if we move some into stabilization, that just takes the 2/3 vote to bring it back and use it, and it's more available to you during the year.
The main,
some meetings.
the main thing about free cash is it's always good to have enough to cover any deficit snow and ice, like that.
That's the big thing. I'm seeing that's my snow and ice number for this year.
Yeah.
I'm looking at that and thinking that's a good
Yeah, and our snow and ice is
It's gonna be
usually
good.
175 to 200.
200. It's kind of like, and so if we have a bad, if we get a bad February and March, it's kind of like,
Well, even if we get a bad luck, I mean,
yeah,
we're ahead of the curve right now.
Yeah.
There's something that will argue, but
So, okay, that's everything we had. Our next meeting next week is gonna be the special town meeting, and then we're back on the 31st, which will be the training. And we'll move on there. So with that, that's all we have for agenda items.
I got a quick question. I got a
Yep.
capital meeting tomorrow night. Do we know how much money is in that fund?
You mean the capital,
Capital planning.
Capital planning, is there about 78,000 because we did everything from.
we
free
didn't
cash
spend
last year?
anything. in
Let's,
capital.
yeah, we took everything we paid for on the capital plan was,
Without a free cash.
out of
So we got about
Well-
78,000.
I think it's.
I honestly don't.
Yeah.
It's something we can have for you.
Yeah, we're meeting tomorrow night, the first meeting, and I'm sure they're gonna ask that question.
Looks like everybody
looking forward.
leave.
Uh,
Oh, no, you
I
had to close out. I was like,
no, we're good.
If we're good, I will make a motion to adjourn at 5:18.
I'll second that.
We have a motion to adjourn second. Do we have a roll call vote, please? Sam, you're
Yeah.
second. Thank you.
Mark Hussey, yes?
Andrea Wood, yes.
Sam Grant, yes.
And Don Hayes, yes, and that's adjourning at 5:19 PM. Thank you all. Appreciate it.